Start. Aman, start. Okay. Welcome back to the second lecture of this fourth day FDP sponsored by ATAL on National Board of Accreditation and Teaching, Learning and Engineering. I'm delighted to share that we have a very knowledgeable and intelligent academician, Dr. Sandeep Singh Gill today. Dr. Sandeep Gill was presently working at our college, so it's a pleasure to call our old faculty member to our own institute. Sir has studied the BTech and MTech from here itself and PhD from NIT Hamidpur. Sir has also played very important role of Dean Admin during his tenure at GLE. Presently, Sir is working as professor in electronics department in NIT Chandigarh. Dr. Sandeep has done a lot of work in OB and he's also handling the multimedia arrangements and other SWAM and video related courses at NIT Chandigarh. The list is endless and I have requested Gill Sahab today to deliver 2 lectures today and we will be discussing many things during the lecture. So I request Gill Sahab to please start the lecture. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Professor Kamra, for a very elaborate introduction. First of all, I would like to know from which kinds of institutions you are all from. I can see some of my own old colleagues also here. Besides that, what are the profile of the institutes you are from? So we can discuss accordingly. Professor was saying that some of you are from school education also. Besides that, is there anybody from polytechnics or only engineering college? Management college. So we have MBA teachers, we have engineering teachers, and we have school teachers. Design would be, I would say engineering in a way. So, okay. So, to start with, can you tell me the difference between governance and leadership? We talk about leadership, we talk about governance. In your perception, you need not be right. What do you perceive? Neither do I want a formal definition. Leadership क्या होती है? Governance क्या होती है? What is it?
Governance can be forcefully, like dictators, they also can govern the nation.
Okay.
And if I'm talking about leadership, leader is a more positive term than the governance.
Right. Anybody else?
Governance is compliance of all the policies which has been created by the leaders. So leadership is a process of creating things which will get implemented to all the population.
Okay. Try again. He's right in a way that you are going to implement policies and procedures. That is what
governance is basically the policy makers and the leaders who are implementing all those policies in a positive way.
So exactly, if you look at the two terms, each of you would be having a head of the institution or a management board in your institutions. There is a set of rules and regulations which govern. Rules by the institute, rules how to go about your academic activities, rules regarding your service, HR, how to teach, how to manage students. There will be rules as far as regulatory framework is concerned. You will be governed by AICT or UGC, or you will be governed by maybe CBSE has a certain set of rules for schools. So that is compliance with those and implementing those and getting them implemented, that is governance. Governance is about anybody sitting on the chair, by virtue of sitting on that chair, would be able to get those things done. That is the duty of that chap, and he is going to get it done. But leadership is slightly different. That goes in at a higher level. That is about an informal power which would help you to motivate your staff, your faculty, your workers to go beyond their routine duties and do something for the system. That is leadership. Governance anybody can do, because by virtue of your chair you have to implement and you will get those things done. But a leader would be able to inspire confidence, a leader would be able to help you to work beyond your capacity, he will help you to feel happy doing your job. So that is what a leader is. So that is the basic difference between a leader and a person who is doing governance by virtue of sitting at that chair. Now, this is a very vague topic which I have got. I try to not get into the theory of leadership or governance, but I try to make it more practical while discussing with you. So we are all from educational institutes. In terms of higher education institutes, what are the major challenges or major issues which you are facing? You are all teachers. For example, somebody is in an engineering college. He is teaching in an engineering college or a management college. What are the issues which you are facing?
The biggest issue nowadays is admission.
Admission is one of the issues you are facing. What else?
Recruitment of teachers also.
Recruitment of the right kind of teachers with the issue.
Also issue.
Okay.
So the base of the student is very weak. Like what we are getting stuff from the schools that is not up to mark. So it's lots of problem at the level of higher education.
So you feel that schools are not doing their job well. So the
there are-
students you are getting are not up to the mark. Is it the other way around, that students were always having that grading, but only a few of them were getting those kind of admissions? Now anybody can get any admission.
Majority of the students we are getting, they are not up to mark.
Okay.
Whatever we are expecting from them, we are not expecting they will do lots of, but the basic knowledge they must have, but they are lacking. And practically we have found that in our classes.
What else?
Yes, admission issue because number of students are thinking to move on a broad side. That is, it comes to the IELTS. So IELTS is a very challenging, like right now.
So the institute band hona kya?
So
The reverse
Sir,
trend
but the
We-
mindset
Yes.
has not been changed.
because the students are converting to Australia side from that side. They are thinking right now.
Australia is expensive.
Consumer behavior of the students.
Yes.
Consumerism behavior of students.
Yes.
Consumerism
Behavior of
in
students.
their behavior, right? That is one thing we can
Sir,
say.
every time
What
we,
you are saying is right. I'm just making it.
sir, every time we
right.
ask to the students, what is your aim in your life? What you want to become? What is where you see yourself after 5 years? All the time they mention this thing that we want to go abroad, we want to go there, we want to do something there like that. Why not in your country? I mean, this is the challenge to the teachers also. They have to change the mindset of the students. When we people are saying, okay, this is fine, you can go abroad. Like, where we are making mistakes, I think.
It's more of a regional challenge, I would say,
Yes.
because if it is a national organization, it is a proper.
It is a regional challenge.
Yes.
It is a regional challenge, specifically Punjab, with some spillover now to Haryana also.
Yes.
So we
Because
cannot
And
see
Rajasthan
such
also.
neighbors,
Yes.
neighbors are getting affected.
So we cannot
Otherwise,
see,
if you go to south, Andhra is going
Yes,
like anything
Kerala.
to US. Andhra is going to US, but they are actually going for higher studies and they are studying. They are not just looking for a visa. Big difference.
Sir, but they have a purpose.
They have a purpose.
Our generation is
They are not having
don't
a
have
purpose. You are right.
Directionless.
So, before I'll formally discuss these issues, let me have one of the school teachers also tell me, what are the challenges at the school level you facing? Schools, what are the kind of challenges you face?
Sir, discipline.
Discipline is a challenge?
At least nowadays we can say.
From which class do you start facing that?
Sorry, sir.
Which class from which class do you feel that students are now getting indisciplined?
From 5th, 6th class.
Just to start this class. What else? Any other change?
maturity of students.
Hmm?
Early maturity of students.
That is a
Early
major.
maturity is a big issue.
This is just because there is a great amount of technological advancements that are had in our society.
So it is
Because
more
of
of greater exposure to the children at a very young age.
Sir, I'm not from school, but I have noticed that there is no uniformity in the school levels. Some governments say this is my school, this my school, convent school, private school, government school. There are some, we have established lots of the levels of the schools. That's why the students are feel they are totally differentiate from each other. तो वहाँ पर सर उनका बन ही नहीं रहा कुछ, क्योंकि लेवल का बहुत ज़्यादा फर्क हो गया और बहुत सारी लाइंस क्रिएट हो गई हैं सर। एक लेवल होना चाहिए एक स्टेट के अंदर, एक ही टाइप के स्कूल्स होने चाहिए, उसमें सिलेबस एक तरह का होना चाहिए, टीचर्स एक लेवल के होने चाहिए, सब स्टूडेंट्स का कंपैरिजन
Syllabus and all is uniform throughout.
Yes.
That
बट
is
सर जो
uniform.
टीचिंग का जो लेवल है वो स्टूडेंट वाइज सेम नहीं है। अगर आप कॉन्वेंट
Teaching का level is more dependent upon the quality of teachers at different levels.
वही सर
That is dependent upon the kind of salary you are
Yeah,
offering.
Yes, sir.
So those things are it is a big vicious circle, and that is there in higher education also.
It is across the
Yes,
education.
So across, that is not only in schools.
Workload
Schools,
is too much on teachers now.
yes.
Workload is too much.
Workload in terms of non-teaching activities is very high.
Non-teaching
So even in, we people also feel that we are spending more time on documentation, less on the actual teaching process.
In
That is
schools
one
and
of the things, side business only. So when we talk of educational scenario, evolution of higher education in India, we see that we are talking about Takshila, we are talking about Nalanda, all those universities which were there in the ancient times,
Yes.
which over the years were destroyed or they finished off. Takshila was in our area, in a way, West Punjab, it was in the northwest. So that was established in 5th or 6th century before Christ. So that is a very, very old university. Similarly, we have Vedas, we have 18 arts, a lot of literature was there over the years in the ancient times, which shows that our society was a very educated kind of a society at one time.
Yes, sir.
Later on, due to certain issues, whatever it is, we had a very bad phase in terms of education and learning. We hear of so many things like Arthashastra by Chanakya, we hear about Charaka, who was an Ayurvedic healer. So these things are being referred to as some kind of literature in terms of their respective fields. We will talk of mathematics being certain things like zero was in India or something like that. We are talking about those things also. So Nalanda also was a very ancient university. These were residential universities also. The ruins of Nalanda, it shows that it was a multi-storied kind of a setup there. Those ruins are now being redeveloped and that university is being redeveloped there.
Yes, sir.
At the global level, we see that Bologna in Italy, a university was established in 1088 and it is still functioning. So a functional old university in terms of the oldest university was in Bologna in Italy. So that is still functioning. So it is almost 1,000 years or more old. So later on when the British came, they started their own kind of education in India. Their educational setup was different and today we are more or less absolutely following that.
Yes.
So they established some of the universities in India, especially in the areas they colonized at the earlier stage like Calcutta, Madras, Bombay. That is where they came from. They came from sea, so those were the areas which were in their influence at the very early stage. So Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, they established universities in 1857. Then Allahabad 1887 and so on. So over the years, they created a kind of educational setup in India. It is called a Macaulay educational system in a way. So in the present context, the government's focus is on ancient India, trying to create pride in that, and they are now criticizing that system. But what we have studied and what the previous 3-4 generations have studied is the education system that the British created. Aligarh Muslim University 1920, Banaras Hindu University 1916, so many universities were established. So certain women universities were also established in 1916, SNDT, Indian Women's University. Then as of today we have 1114 universities in India. So that is the current scenario as of 2023. So with so many universities, like you were saying, the level of education is varying, the level of quality of education being delivered is also varying. So those issues we are facing across the board. When we talk of a college or an educational institution, what exactly happens in that? You go through this and you will see that. Initially, we get students. Students come from different socio-demographic levels and they have different traits. When we say the quality of students varies a lot or their attention span varies a lot, that depends on the kind of background they are coming from. So parallelly, academic preparation and performance, then their personal and social experiences, those things all play a big role in the kind of performance a student gives. If somebody has an absolutely educational kind of atmosphere at home, it is a peaceful atmosphere, there is no fight between the mother and the father, you liable to perform in a better way. They are all fighting them. So many things are impeding that performance. It is not a singular kind of a thing. A school or a college, you go and somebody teaches and it is a machine which is going to help you to learn. Parallelly, when you come into that college or school, we are talking about various organizational structures, your governance structures which are created in that institute. Then we are also talking about policies and practices, various academic and co-curricular or extracurricular activities which will help a student develop. So what is the level of those, what are the structures created for that? That all play a big role. Then the faculty culture, what is the culture in terms of how the faculty behaves, how the faculty approaches its job, that again is a big thing. We should be rather more worried about the faculty culture in terms of when we're talking about leadership. We are all leaders. Your principal would be leading the institute, your head would be leading the department, you will be leading your labs also if you are in charge there. And if you are teaching a class or you are a mentor to 20 students, you are leading those students. You can play those roles at your level. So that way a faculty and how he or she approaches is a big issue. Then classroom experiences, out of class experiences. Earlier we had TechUp here, so we all went for trainings under TechUp. I had the opportunity to go to IIM Kozhikode. The director, it was a leadership course again. The director told us that tomorrow morning I will be holding a class at 6 a.m. under a tree. So that is the kind of culture they have created. 6 o'clock they will be students will be coming, he will be taking them on nature walk, they will be sitting under a tree and taking a class. So those kind of things develop, a separate kind of a culture is developed in those institutes. You are not bound by a certain routine that I am coming at 8:30 or 9, I am going back at 5, at 4:30 the attendant comes and says, sir, band karo kamana tala lona.
I would like to add one thing. Similar training I also got at IIM Kashipur, and on the very first day I was surprised that रात को 2 बजे classes लगती हैं, students 11-12 बजे घूम रहे थे, तो वो दस्या कि 12:30 बजे रात को class है. I think उस तरह culture we also need to add.
We need to add that, or at least we need to set right whatever we are following, and let us start from that level first. But that is another level altogether. So
facilities ही बहुत चाहिए होती हैं, उससे mindset भी develop करने के लिए.
facilities we do have. I agree on one thing. Like one of the things they were one person was giving a lecture. They were creating a world-class institute. So he was saying out of the box things. This would be required. You should do this, that. I told him, sir, the amount of budget for your library is more than the total budget of our institution. So when you are giving these solutions, talk about what is practically possible for us. So that way you're right in terms of facilities also. The amount of facilities or the amount of funds they have is mind-boggling. I've seen the change, the funds in my current institution with around 48 teachers. They are after us, kharcho. Well, that is the kind of scenario. The education system is so skewed in a way that excess of funds at certain levels and paucity of funds wherein you can't even recruit teachers in a proper way at certain other levels. That is again a big issue. So all this can be done through a set of leadership skills which we all as leaders should be developing. Now, when we talk of functions of higher education, what are the functions of higher education? The first and the foremost function is generate, produce and transmit new knowledge. That is our first job. So when we talk of issues, we need to first understand what are the functions which we should be trying to discharge. We are supposed to generate, produce and transmit new knowledge. Are we doing it? That again, in terms of quality of research we are doing, there is a big question mark. At the global level, it is said that the highest or the second highest number of papers are coming out of India, but the quality of those papers is very, very poor. The quality of journals which we have across the country is very, very poor. Then we need to prepare students for employment. Very important. As an engineering institute, how do we prepare students for employment? When we hear this term, we get a consultant from somewhere, he gives a few lectures, soft skills and all that. But the most important thing is laboratory. When we need to prepare a student in an engineering college for employment, take him to the lab. Our problem is that we also don't really know what we are going to teach in that lab, and that is why we try to skip that part. So first thing is to train your teachers in terms of practicals, and then they will be very confident and they will be taking their classes also. So summer break, winter break, use for training them in the practicals which are going to come in the next semester. If a student is practically sound, he will be able to get gainfully employed. That is the biggest problem which industry is facing today. You have students with a lot of degrees, they are unemployable. Then we say that why are our students not working here? Why do they want to go abroad? Because they won't get that job for which their mindset has been created that I am a B.Tech, I need this kind of a job. Issue is that he won't get that job because he is not having those kind of skills. So a lower job he won't do here, he will feel ashamed. So out of sight, out of mind, he will do anything abroad. So that is the big issue.
So big issue is one more thing, because since 2014 I am taking care of the training place myself. So number of students are coming in campus from the different colleges. But during the training, if talking about the summer training or winter training, so they think about IELTS and somewhere gate preparation and something. That is why they are not getting exact training which they require. So it can be
students are using those 6 months to clear their backlog. They are using those 6 months. If Purani VPS, we should get cleared. So here monitoring makes a big impact. You should see that they are actually attending that training. That is very important. So you can have coordinators in different cities, go there periodically, visit there. So rather than teachers visiting there, appoint somebody. For example, you can appoint a teacher from any college in Delhi to look after all the students you have placed in Delhi and let him give a report. So those kind of setups are required. Going from here to there doesn't really...
Definitely.
Then promote new skills and capabilities that are suited to the changing global setting. This is very important. Our curriculum needs to be revised accordingly so that technology is changing in a very fast way. Are our students equipped? AR, VR, this, that. So many things are there which are going to be useful in every branch. They are not computer. Most of the subjects in computer science are applications for other branches. So every branch has to learn those skills. cyber security, you have AR, VR in terms of mechanical, we are talking about 3D printing, even 4D is coming now. So all those skills at a certain level need to be promoted. Then intellectual platform has to be created for new disciplines and their development. So many options are there. Now the regulatory framework is allowing us to create so many new disciplines. We are allowed to even, some of the institutes at a certain level, they are allowed to even go in for online courses also. So those options are available. We need to go for those. Then social inclusion is a government policy. We need to go in for that, not only in terms of caste-based reservation, economic reservations, have-nots. This college is practicing that in terms of rural reservation. So those are all measures for social inclusion. Then cost-effective, rigorous, innovative research. Nowadays, what change has happened is, earlier we used to submit a research proposal. We used to get that, publish a couple of papers out of that, and spend that money. That was enough. Now the funding agencies, they are looking at a product. They are not looking at any routine kind of a research. They'll fund only a product. They'll fund only that kind of a research which will actually give some kind of a practical outcome. So we need to change ourselves accordingly. Industry and institute interaction is something which is a big issue today. But practically, how much it is helping or not, you are talking about placement cell. What is the advantage of that? Have you seen any advantage? As an industry person in your body of studies, some of your heads of department also, उसका कोई फायदा होया इसका?
सर होता ही है फायदा तो बच्चा ने अगर बच्चों को ट्रेनिंग प्रॉपर्ली दी जाए तो फिर
नहीं, board of studies, curriculum development, does the industry person, we are required to keep them in your academic councils in a board of studies. They are a kind of ornament, very right also we require that ornament. But practically, does it help you to create that kind of a curriculum?
No.
उसकी वजह नहीं है.
So we have done collaboration, IT department or CSE have done collaboration with Infosys. They told us to include one subject of agile software development. That part was done as a.
That is what I was coming to. Now Infosys and that chap who came here, he is talking about that particular subject. Yours, does your 200 students get adjusted in Infosys?
Quite a good extent, adjusted also.
You need to prepare an undergraduate student in a holistic way, so that he can go towards any industry. Industry person will have a smaller, very narrow focus. You have to prepare a student who will go to IT also, who will go for data science, for software, for X, Y, Z, and he has to be across the industries, whatever the platforms are being used. So the training of mind is more important than the training in a particular tool. Tools would be electives, basically, which whatever he wants to pick up. So this is something which is, I don't agree to certain aspects of this industry interaction. Industry interaction is required in terms of proper training if it can be given. It is required in terms of exposure to the environment in the industry where a student would be going. Many students we know, especially if I remember correctly, civil students from here also, they worked very hard, the placement cell, number of companies were coming. Students were so soft, they went there, they ran away, the companies don't come next time. So mentally they are not prepared for that hardship in a field job. So industry interaction helps in that way. Let them go there, let them sit there, let them understand what they will face. And then they are more prepared to face that once they go there. Then community and university. When you, as an institute, you have a FM radio station here. So that is a kind of initiative. If you are using that properly, you can pick up issues of the community around you. You can help them solve those issues. Your projects should be such that you can pick up certain issues around them. Certain institutes have certain clubs by students. When poor students or weak students in slums around the vicinity, they teach them. So many ways you can help the community around you. You are sitting in a community, you are using that, you have a big campus in a community anywhere. Certain campuses are thousands of acres, they are almost cities. So those campuses should be helping the people around them also. That is today a big focus area, not only for education institutes but for industry also, under the corporate social responsibility. Then social issues, policies, practices which we should be able to influence. We are supposed to be intellectuals. Teachers are supposed to be intellectuals. We should not be afraid of speaking out on different social issues, national policy, participate in that. Every policy which comes, it is first floated for comments. Give comments on that. In number of TV channels we see, especially because Delhi-based institutes, those teachers come on those panels for different discussions. Similarly, at our level also, we should be seeing that we are responsible citizens and we are participating in different social issues or policy making issues and giving our inputs. Now we were discussing about issues. Biggest issue, like you said, was admissions. Some institutes are overburdened. Lines लगी हुई हैं, सारे उससे जाना चाहते हैं. Others are struggling for admission. That is one big issue today. Second issue is teacher or teaching quality. Creativity, innovation, heavy. Rote learning. When we teach a subject which has numericals, are we solving those numericals? If we solve only, then we can give those to the students. So when we are putting, and we are forced to put a numerical in the exam paper also, we pick up a solved numerical so that we don't need to solve that also. So that kind of a thing, kind of a mediocrity is there. And that is another, other part of it is that, like you were saying, students are not good, they are not challenging us. So we are also working at that level also. But if the students are challenging you, then you need to come out of that comfort zone. Then privatization and mushrooming of low quality institutes. That is a big, big issue. So many institutes which were started only for the purpose of making money, and they have mushroomed. And every student who wants to get admission, AICT seats are getting reduced. From 14 lakhs, it has come to around 10 lakhs now. Every year, seats are being surrendered. And even those seats are not being filled. Maybe 6-7 lakhs are being filled. So there is a huge excess capacity. Then second aspect is, one is the low cost, low quality institutes. There are other institutes which are very high quality institutes in the private sector. But there, the cost of education is very high. So this is a kind of issue which will be low quality, useless institutes, high quality, unaffordable. So these are two different ends of the program. Then merit versus equal opportunity. This is an endless debate, social and all those admissions. We always, if we lose out on admission, we say reservation shouldn't be there. A person who is availing those reservations would say that it is required. So this is something which is an endless debate. Then political or bureaucratic interference is there at different levels. Biggest issue, again, why are our institutes not in QS rankings or Times rankings? None of the institutes in top 200. Why? Lack of global flavor. Our IITs also don't have a global flavor. IITs may easily break into that. You want to send your child to US, to any university, you just walk in. If you are getting selected, you go there. Can any person from XYZ country walk into IIT? So this is a lack of global flavor. We don't have students which we have is for non-AICT courses, and they are basically for BBA, BCA, this, that, from African countries. They are all into low quality institutes. Those institutes in fact are running because of those fees from those students. But actual global flavor is missing on two aspects. One is students, second is faculty. No global faculty. we have